everyone, and welcome to the Resident Rulebreakers. I'm Kayla.
And I'm Camille.
So it's obviously been a while since we've recorded. It's July now. So
I know, right?
1 month of hiatus is over. This particular podcast we're going to be discussing episode 204, which is called About Time. It was written by Marc, Halsey, and directed by Geary McLeod, who's also directed quite a few episodes of quite a few other major TV shows, including Grey's Anatomy. So I did some research on that just to make sure people knew who he was if they weren't didn't know.
The name didn't sound familiar.
Yeah. And since it is July, the cast will be back in Atlanta very soon to start filming season 5. Yep. July 12th is what the date we had confirmed. So they'll be back on set. Maybe we'll get some pictures. Who knows? But if we do get pictures, they'll obviously be in the Facebook group. And we'll try to share them either to Camille's page or to the podcast page. One or two, but keep your eyes peeled because they're going to start filming, which means good things. Good things. It's on its way.
I'm excited for it.
So they've been writing over Zoom. So the show obviously will return in September, but we probably won't know the exact date until August. Fox is pretty good about releasing their premiere dates in early mid-August. So
we're expecting it to be sometime in September.
There's 2 dates I'm expecting it. One of the big September 21st, which is the second to last Tuesday in September, or September 28th, which is the last Tuesday in September. So staying on Tuesday nights. So those are the 2 days I'm predicting it will possibly be. So
yeah. So excited about that. I think we're all excited about that one.
But yeah, I just wanted to give an update on that because like this film date, that's new material since we recorded last. This particular episode centers pretty much around the fact that there was a music festival in Atlanta and an ant like blows and it sounds like a bomb went off, and it freaked people out. And
a lot of
and stuff.
I remember when this episode aired, they had a warning in the beginning before it started, because you remember the Las Vegas Music Festival or whatever. It might have because it had a trigger, because it might have triggered that whole thing for people with the Las Vegas Music Festival. If you guys don't remember, that's when the guy was shooting people from the hotel room in the 40th floor or whatever.
Yeah, the Las Vegas Festival happened right around the time this aired. So yes.
Yeah, so they had to put a warning out there before the episode originally aired that this might trigger some people, especially because of the music festival and running and trampling and everything else. So but in this one it wasn't a bomb. It was an ant that blew. Yes.
A lot of the character storylines surrounded by the fact that they got injured from all this, including a character played by Tanc Sade, who played Finn on Gilmore Girls. So there was a Gilmore Girls reunion in this episode between Matt and Tanc. So, yeah.
I just feel like I would have liked some more behind the scenes of those two filming, because I imagine if
there were some cute BTS stuff on his Facebook page, on Tanc's Facebook page. So there was some cute. That's where a lot of the photos I had came from. Were from him. There's their connection there. If you are a Matt Zucchi fan, have never seen Gilmore Girls in a day in your life, and I'm pretty sure everyone that's listening to this podcast has seen Gilmore Girls. So, but yeah. Anyway, I don't like the fact that these two characters are opposite sides of the plot line, but whatever.
Tom's character is suing Conrad because he's a professional adventure person.
Yes, a professional adventure guide. Yes.
Yeah. So he's also very active. He does free diving, bungee jumping,
snowboard down a volcano.
Yes, all these kind of crazy things. And so like he goes to he was there at the music festival, right? But they thought that he like fainted or whatever from the from the people running him over, but in reality he had fainted, lost consciousness beforehand, and that's when like we find out that he was doing supplements and things like that, and all of the interactions got him like blood clots and strokes, and Conrad had to do burr holes, which Tanc's character thought led to him being paralyzed and now losing his job as an adventure guide, which in my opinion is like really like a missed opportunity, because I feel like, oh my god, this is a great thing to like now just show that disabled people how to still have the adventures, still do the kayaking and stuff like that, but with the accessibility, for the disabled. You know what I mean? Because like anybody who can walk and anybody who can run and anybody who can do all those things can do those things. But to add the extra challenge of being paralyzed and also being able to like show people like, okay, if these are new things that are coming out that would allow the disabled to join in the snowboarding thing. That's a brand new niche that he could have done. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Here's the thing. Like, I understand his income has completely like vanished at this point. Like he can't do what he's used to doing. But he got if supplements were causing him to have like a blood clotting disorder, so his blood was clotting and not clotting all at the same time, and he was bleeding out.
He had a stroke.
But Conrad takes action, and because they can't get him into the OR fast enough, because the doctor is still in surgery, and he takes action to try to prevent him from going brain dead, and it paralyzes him, essentially.
Yeah, personally, I'd have been like, if the choice was for you to do the burr holes right there in the middle of the hallway, or not do it, and me being dead, I'd rather you do the burr holes. Like
he's alive thanks to Conrad, and he's in a wheelchair now, but he's alive. You can still live your life.
And it's like I said, he could have totally taken advantage of this new niche as a disabled person of showing how you can still be adventurous and doing all these crazy things like free diving or whatever with disability or whatever. Because I mean, a lot of people. That's the thing, is as a disabled person, we are sometimes look like we're limited to what we can do because of what our disabilities. So in reality, it should not be that way. We should be able to do things. We just should have the accessibility to do those things. You know what I mean? I wish that they could do that. I wish there was like a TV show that did the adventure guides kind of thing, the adventures that people have. But for the disabled, so that we can see that there are ways to still have the fun that everyone has, but also still like you know what I mean? If that makes any sense.
I understand that he was upset that his income disappeared because of his new disability, but he could have made the best. Totally made the best of it out of a bad situation. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, like, hello, how many TV shows are there of people doing adventure stuff, but a whole new niche, a disabled person doing adventure stuff? You know what I mean? Like, hello, TV channels would totally be wanting that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What I also didn't like about this plot line was Marshall. I was beginning to really like him up until this little plot line here where Marshall pays Josh off and says, "Don't take this to court," and drop the case. And I'm like, that's just wrong.
Oh,
and
why?
White privilege at bad. Like, he's just throwing his money around at that point.
I get what you're saying, but see, I disagree. it is sort of, it's more like rich man's privilege.
Yeah.
But he's protecting his son. Like, if I'm pretty sure if your dad had the money to pay off somebody, he would too, or any parent would.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But also at the same time, I'm sitting there going, Conrad, first off, Conrad would never want Marshall to fight his battles for him. That's just not Conrad.
She would not. No.
So the fact that he never found out about this, like if he were to find out now after all the bonding they've done and everything, and after he's had a daughter and everything, what would he say? I just really wanted. I don't want to know. But I can sense Conrad would not be too happy about it. So
no, he wouldn't.
So,
but I don't know. I think that I don't think that there was he didn't like to make Conrad owe him or anything like that.
No. He was just trying to protect Conrad.
Yeah.
But Conrad went 10 years without any help from a parent. And he's so independent and able to take care of himself. And he put himself through medical school, blah, 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 blah. All this stuff. So, yeah, I can imagine Conrad finding out about this would not be a good thing.
No.
For his and Marshall's relationship.
No.
But it kind of made me just I really began to love Marshall later in season 2. Like I really did. But at this point, I was really starting because this was only like his maybe 4th or 5th episode. So it really didn't have character development at this point. The next thing I wanted to note was this was the first episode we had Gordon Page, played by Michael Weston. And he always seems to play villains for some reason. And
I know. Has he ever played a good guy?
I don't know.
I'm trying to remember if he's ever played a good guy.
Like, even at the beginning, before we knew where they were going with this plotline, he was creepy. There were vibes.
He had like sleazeball vibes.
And I think, what was the line? Kid even says, "Who's this douchebag?"
Yeah.
Sees him on the cover of the magazine and goes, "Who's that douchebag?" Kit knew immediately.
I know, right? She just knew.
She just knew. And this was his first episode. And like Belle is like all buying into all his fancy stuff. But and you can see the other doctors going, "I don't know," they're really questioning it.
Yeah.
But like Gordon did note that Belle didn't brag about how much money he made off these injuries from the festival. That was like he was like the only CEO that didn't brag about it. So
I know, like because he didn't make enough money.
Yeah,
all
he
the
didn't
other
make
people
any
were
money.
like,
They had barely and also they because of the fact that they didn't get that many admissions from all these injuries, Belle was like, "Well, why didn't people come here?" And
because the EMTs were
they're getting TV and fancy food somewhere else, so they made a lounge for the EMTs,
to attract the EMTs to come over there.
Yeah, just so they can make more money.
I feel like more hospitals should do that, like take care of the people who bring in the patients so that they can be attracted to them or whatever. I don't think. Trying to remember other hospitals actually do that.
And then of course Julian, Jenna Dewan's in this episode too. Yeah. And like at first, like that, her first thing in the episode, she's in the operating room with Belle. And I sat there from like when I first saw this and I'm sitting there going, why is a device wrap in the operating room in the first place? Like if I was having surgery, I wouldn't want to know that there was a person I didn't approve to be in there.
Yeah.
Like that's a HIPAA violation. So, but the particular patient was a Saudi prince. So
yeah. What was her purpose of being there in the first place?
I don't like. She was pointing out some device or something, but like they weren't even like, there was no purpose in that scene, like, in my opinion. I know that the writers apparently had a purpose because apparently it happens, but
I mean, it just sounded like her telling Belle which instrument to use, and I'm sitting there going like, why she needed to be there to tell him what to use? Like, what the
doesn't he know?
like, what the heck? Just go over there and tell. Just don't. There was no purpose of her being there at all. Yeah. If he needed medical device prep to tell him which tools to use, whether he shouldn't be a surgeon.
Not only at that point, he was also the CEO and the chief of surgery. So, like, he really shouldn't have had that position. So,
yeah, it's crazy.
Anyway, there's a Devin Julian thing going on, which, like, when I saw the photos of her in the dress, like, those were some of the promo photos with her in that red dress. And I was like, yeah, this is a skimpy red dress that shows her cleavage off. Yeah, they're going somewhere with this storyline.
She like, of all the people to go and ask how she looked, she goes and searches out Devon. Like, dude, like, unless the residence lounge is right next to the women's bathroom, and you could, like, or in the residence lounge or whatever, I'm pretty sure you passed several people to get to the residence lounge. You couldn't have asked them, hey, how do I look? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. But also, like, she, like, because there's another person in this episode, Colin Hay, who's a singer.
Yeah.
He's a guest star in this episode too, and his character was in the VIP lounge or VIP suite.
Yeah.
And she was like, "I'm a big fan of this singer," and, like, she knew he was there, like, but Devin would not divulge it because that's a HIPAA violation.
And Devin, she was like, blink twice, blink if he's there. And Devin's like wide-eyed, refusing to blink.
But no, I mean, good on Devin for not breaking his, oath or whatever. But, sorry, but you're not going to use your wiles on Devin at this point. Sorry.
Yeah, a couple of episodes later, it works. But anyway, the story, of all the storylines in this episode, I actually liked Colin Hayes' character storyline, because this is the, like, mystery diagnosis thing, and I really felt bad for the guy, because I mean, this is my second time watching the episode, so I already knew what his diagnosis was.
Yeah.
But I really felt bad for this guy because, he's, like, telling people, I have been sober. He's proud of being sober. He's like, what? I'm waiting for that chip. He's got his sober buddy, making sure that there's no alcohol or anything in the room, and he's refusing pain meds, all these things, and he's doing it 100% correct. And he's, like, going out of his way to make sure his sobriety is good and whatever. And this thing is, like, killing him because he doesn't know it. His body has been through self-abuse with alcoholism and stuff like that. And the product of that is, what is that called? ALS or BAL?
Yeah, I mean, it's a disease that turns the sugar from, he was eating
carbohydrates.
Yeah, but carbs, the sugar from the carbs into alcohol in your stomach.
Because of all the drinking he did, it develops a yeast in his stomach lining.
Essentially, he's brewing beer in his stomach.
Yeah. And so he's getting drunk without really getting drunk and stuff. And I felt so bad for him because, Devon and Conrad didn't believe that he was sober. They were all like, his blood alcohol is this, he says he's sober, but Devon's line was, blood work doesn't lie, alcoholics do. And I'm sitting there going, like, dude, like, can we, like, why are you do? I just don't like. I just didn't like that. He wasn't trusting his patient, I guess, or something.
Yeah, I mean, but the fact is, this guy, he had a broken tibia, right?
Yeah, from
and so he had to have surgery to repair it. Yeah,
he was performing at a music festival.
Yeah, and it's supposed to be like his big comeback or something, right?
Yeah, after years of like drugs and alcohol and stuff like that, he finally got sober. This was his like comeback, is during the music festival. So,
but in the end, he does get to perform a song at the end of the episode.
I know.
And at the press conference where Bell announces that the hospital forgave the money for all the patients who were in there for injuries because of it and whatever. But, and then he performs courtesy of the fact that Devin surprises him with this or whatever. Don't know how they wrangled it, but yeah. It was sweet. It was cool, but he got to sing because he's actually a legitimately wonderful performer and singer.
Yep.
So,
he actually wrote that song, I think.
Yes, I think
for that episode.
And there's a BTS shot of that scene being filmed with Bruce and the guitar, and because we know Bruce can play. So
yeah. Even though Bruce will deny it, they're like, "No, I can't play." I'm like, Bruce, you didn't realize.
So that was probably one of my favorite storylines of the episode was actually the one with the Colin Hay and the mystery diagnosis that he had.
Yeah, I want the resident to do more of those things. But like more mystery diagnosis episodes kind of thing. Even if it's just like one episode hits, I want them to do more of that.
We mentioned Kid already, but this was her first episode. This was the first time Jane Leeves was on The Resident. And like, you see the first scene she does. I mean, I'm just like, I missed that part of Kid. Like, where's the upbeat rock music? And she's pounding away at this man's hip replacement.
She's like, it's so funny because the resident she was assigned to at first was like about to throw up or faint to some. She went to Belle. It was like, hey, look, I need a new resident, and that's when Mina was assigned to her and stuff. And I laughed because AJ was like, "What? That's my student."
There's some good lines in here from Mina, and she goes, one, I'm not yours, and two, I've got have my own lineage. Thank you very much.
The best line of the series was when she tells AJ at the end, I am not your ancestor. I'm not your descendant. I am an ancestor.
I'm an ancestor of my own line.
Yeah, like I start my own line or whatever. So I'm sitting there going, yes. I love that girl. This is the kind of stuff that I miss with Mina. It's like a strong, independent woman or whatever. So I feel like that kind of got muddled this past season when she started like being lovey-dovey with AJ. I was like, girl, bring back the badass surgeon who like kicks ass at every surgery and
Yeah. I mean, we're not gonna obviously see that anymore.
No.
But even the AJ of this episode, he's they called him a bit. Can't say he's a bit of a narcissist. That AJ is just not really there anymore. So
it's Weekend. Yeah, it's Weekend. I'm like, no, we need that back. That was like his main characteristic when he was introduced to stuff.
Yeah, but I love the fact that because I just love the first time they put Bruce and Jane on the screen together. It was like, there's chemistry here, and a lot of people want it. But again, like I've said in the last like 2 podcasts now, I don't think that's going anywhere anytime soon. They're just going to play off it for a while.
Which I hate. I do hate, but I also understand. Like I'm torn Because the last time they like put together a couple, because the fans wanted them to be together, the girl leaves. So like I'm sitting there going like maybe them putting together couples is like bad luck sense.
Like there's rumors that there's going to be a Frasier revival coming, and
yep.
Well, here's the thing: James blatantly said she won't leave the resident, so I think we're safe. She's just going to have to film both of them.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But then that would mean that she would reduce her role on the resident.
Yep.
Because she wouldn't be able to do both.
Nope.
At the same time, full time. God, I hate this.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, so then of course there's the Conrad and Nick stuff, you know. Nick actually just went to the festival just to be with Conrad, you know. So
but he took an extra shift.
Yeah, he took extra shift. But, you know, and she's like, I'll just go and enjoy the music. And that's when everything happened. But, you know, Nick it proves how wonderful she is. She stepped in on her day off to help, you know, and that proves it. Like, they're like, no, doctors and nurses never really have a day off when there's a crisis.
No, they do not.
So she stepped up to her duty. That's kind of the thing there. But when the music at the end of the episode, and Conrad asks, why don't you ever come see music with me? And she's like, because you sway, Conrad.
Which he does. We've seen it on several episodes.
And I don't know if it's Matt putting it in the character or if it's just Matt.
Maybe he just can't dance. Maybe that's just how his thing is. I mean, even when Matt was trying to do the Bollywood, I'm like, Matt, no. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, proof. Matt can't dance.
I know, right? Sorry, Matt.
And then there was a few other things, like in the premiere episode in 2-1, which we've already done a podcast for, but I would really certainly do it, so I don't really remember much of it. But in that episode, Conrad, during the blackout, does like a cut on one of the patients, and Nolan takes the fall for it and takes the heat from Belle about it. Yeah. And says, I'm not covering your butt again. So that's a follow-up from that episode.
Yeah. We need more Nolan.
Yeah, more Nolan. Yes, he's always so funny.
Yeah.
Even his Instagram account is hilarious.
Oh, yeah.
Michael Hogan, his Instagram is hilarious. And then there was a thing in there, Irving noted a statistic that most ER doctors are the
ones most like soon.
The ones that deal with the incoming traumas and everything.
Yeah.
So they're the ones that would most likely make a mistake if something were to happen in a malpractice thing. So,
yeah.
Makes sense. But that's a statistic that they were making a point. And they were having all these like ambulance chaser lawyers, you know, coming, showing them, you know. So upcoming podcasts. July 26th, which obviously 2 weeks away, will be episode 205, which is the Germ. That's the introduction of the Barnett family and the police, Conrad's in the police shirt episode. There's that. August 9th, which is going to be 207, Trial and Error. Obviously, I keep noting that we skipped an episode because some people are like, what? You know, but 206 is the Halloween episode. We've already done it for 1 and 2. It's Halloween.
Yep.
We don't want Halloween in the middle of summer. Anyway, so 207 is Trial and Error. That's the episode with the drug trial with Nick's sister, Jessie. And that's where everything starts going wrong for Jessie.
Yep.
So August 23rd, 208, that's Heart in a Box. Heart in a Box, AJ and Mina do a heart transplant. And there's some good Mina stuff in there. And there's also some background on Mina's past. So, yeah.
Yep.
September 6th, 209, The Dance. That's going to be our last podcast prior to the show going back on the air for season 5. So our last podcast before the show goes back into starts airing season 5.
Yep.
And so 209, The Dance, which is Devin's non-wedding.
Yep. The wedding that didn't happen.
Yeah, the wedding that never happened.
Thank God.
Yeah, I'm actually like, whoa. Yeah, you know, I was really hoping they weren't going through with that one. It's like, Priya's getting a rough end of the deal if Devin's, in love with another woman. Yeah, so there's that. So it's a very short little mini. We have a Patreon account. We haven't really posted much on there, so sorry guys. But we do have one to help fund the podcast, like our hosting and our some of, like, if we need new equipment, say a new microphone or something, we got to use the money from Patreon to help fund that. And so that's where that comes from. So patreon.com/resident podcast, and it's little as $1 a month, and you can cancel it at any time. There's that.
Hallmark Heartbeats podcast, and it is on all the platforms that the Resident Rulebreakers is on. So it's Podbean, YouTube, Alexa TuneIn, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Pandora, Spotify, everything. I talk about all the Hallmark movies. So for the month of July, the Hallmark is doing Christmas in July. So it's a whole month of Christmas movies. And so this week I will be reviewing Crashing Through the Snow.
Is there a connection to the Resident?
Warren Christie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Yes. No, Jude is gonna be on Crashing Through the Snow. Oh, I can promote that on the Resident group. Woo. Anyway, then I actually have 2 interviews that I'm gonna be doing. One tomorrow that will be released this Thursday with one of the co-stars of the movie, and then another interview on Monday, which I will be releasing. I haven't set up a date for that release yet, but with another actress who has a movie coming out soon. No date. Anyway, and then the following week is going to be Candace Cameron Bure theme. For those who don't know, Candace Cameron Bure is pretty much the queen of Hallmark. She does.
Yeah, but she's also known as
DJ.
Grew up with DJ on Full House. So
yeah, DJ Tanner on Full House and Fuller House.
Yeah.
And then the last week of July, it's going to be diversity themed week. So it's going to be a Christmas movie that has a BIPOC, Black or Indigenous people of color main character, because finally Hallmark has stopped being whitewashed. They just started having movies that had people of color as the lead finally, in the past 2 years. So that's gonna be the last week of July. But yeah, so if you like Hallmark movies and you're also a fan of Warren Christie, listen to the podcast. Anyway.
Yeah. So Christmas in July. That's what she's doing.
Yeah. About July anyway.
Yeah, from month of July. The ways you can contact us. You can email us if you want. TheResidentRulebreakers@gmail.com. And so we have the email for you to be able to contact us if you want to. We have a Facebook page for the podcast, and it's the Resident Rulebreakers podcast. And it has all the links to I posted the video that was also on our YouTube channel, so you can literally watch it straight from Facebook and listen to it straight on Facebook. And then there's a little button at the top of that page, and it says join group, and it'll take you to the Resident Fox Fans Facebook group. If you're not in there, answer the questions, and there's 4 of them, and answer all of them, please. You don't just say yes, okay, whatever, because believe me, I delete that stuff so fast when I go through it. And then once you're in there, you can, especially now that they're going to start filming again, it'll become more active. So yeah, when the show goes into closer in the season, we get really active. So it's a good place to get news and stuff too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Instagram @The Resident Podcast. And then, of course, Camille has the Instagram fan site, which is @The Resident on Fox Fans. And if you're not on our Instagram page, the Resident Podcast, then at least follow her because she might post some BTS stuff. Maybe some if they've been really tight on spoilers, so I don't think we're going to get that this year. But but if they post BTS stuff that's been approved by Amy and Fox or whatever, that'll be there. Promise.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've been really tight on their spoilers. It used to never be that way, but they have been this year. So anyway, so there's that. And then I have my personal, which is at KBCountry37. So there's that. And then, of course, we have our Twitter account, which is at Resident Podcast. And, of course, the link to the podcast, every new podcast will be there, as well as ways to listen. Camille kind of already listed them, but I'll do it again. Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and, of course, YouTube. For those of you who want to, watch it's just a video with a sound wave in it. That's literally all it is. But I've made them prettier, this season. So it's a little more work, but it's kind of worth it. So there's that. In 2 weeks, we're going to be discussing episode 205, The Germ. So until then, I'm Kayla.
I'm Camille.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Be safe.